Right, so obviously we've shampooed, we've towel dried, and what we've done there, you've just seen, I've just literally combed through just a few sections there. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working on what we call a hot cross bun section, okay, which you part, sort of a middle parting that runs right through the middle, all the way to the other side of the nape. So we're running right from the front, all the way down. Turn that round, we'll just see. Okay, so the parting from the middle all the way back down to the nape. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our conditioner and we're going to paint across the section. What you'll notice, I'm not actually applying directly to the root there. I'll just show you there. I'm just leaving about 1 centimetre at the root. What we're doing, this would obviously, the application may change depending on what type of hair type you're working on, okay? So if it's going to be hair that's excessively dry, you're going to want to pop it on practically from the root. If you're working on someone that suffers with, a bit like myself, quite oily roots but really dry ends, you're going to be working through literally the mid-lengths and ends. So I'm going to sort of go happy medium just to show you the application today, but bear in mind you will change that depending on what type of hair you're working on. Okay, so we're going to follow that. So what we're going to just put that. What you'll find as well is when you're popping it on like that, it will just help to hold your section into place for you. Okay. Okay, so we've done that whole section running from the front to the back there. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to work into a hot cross bun section, as I say. So literally is a big cross running right the way through the head. So hence why it's called the hot cross bun. And again, I'm not going to go straight from the root. I'm going to leave that root. We're going to imagine this client has got quite an excessively oily scalp, so we're not going to want that conditioner to go onto the scalp area. What will happen? Someone tell me what will happen if we do that. If we apply the conditioner to the root, what's going to happen to those?
Really oily.
Yeah, so if it's already oily, it's going to make it more oily, isn't it? So just spin that around for you so you can see those subsections, okay? Okay? So you've got your 4 main sections. What we're going to do now is we're going to work on the back 2 sections first. So what you can do, if you'd like to, if you're working on really long hair, you can tie those sections up. If it's quite short hair, you can get away with doing what I'm doing and just leaving it like that in your sections. So what we're going to do is literally go across in a diagonal across the section. Just turn that around and show you. Okay, so you're working on a very small amount of hair. Again, this will change depending on the hair type. If it's quite thick hair, you're going to obviously keep it in nice small sections. If it's quite fine hair, you can get away with, you know, doing a bit more hair at the time. So we're literally going to paint on and work all the way through that section there. Yeah, I was about to say that. You can wear gloves for this. I must admit I find it quite nice and my hands are quite dry, so it makes me feel quite smooth. But yes, obviously bear in mind, you know, your dermatitis training, obviously you're better if you're going to be doing it very regularly, and it's also wet work, so yeah, you may well want to use some gloves there. Again, we're leaving it to personal choice. You know your skin. If you know that you've got quite sensitive skin,
Because
yeah,
after massage, my fingers
go all wrinkly then. So as I say, we're just going to work down this section so you've covered all of the hair. And again, I'm not painting it on the root. We're just going to go from mid-length to end. And obviously we're using a henna based conditioner, but you can obviously get lots of different products. Bearing in mind last week when we talked through the products, there's lots of different types for different hair types, so obviously you're going to find one best suited, you know, for the reason you're doing it, for the problem that you're working with. So if it's excessively dry, you'd obviously go for a nice intensive one that's going to be good for dry hair.
Yes, but
you get.
I'm sorry. With the long hair, after you brush,
yeah.
what are you gonna do? Because if you put it up, it's go down.
Yeah.
To
If it was long, you could sort of just take it over to the side. But what you can do, obviously, once you've done that whole section, like I show you now, we've done the whole section through there. If it's long, you can obviously section it up to keep it out of the way. But again, this client's hair is quite short, so I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't really need to section it off. But if it's long hair, you can obviously do that. Okay. So we're going to move to our second section. So what we're doing is basically distributing this product through the hair here. We're working in nice small sections to make sure that we cover all of the hair. Okay. Again, you know, as going back to the hair type, if it was fine hair, you could get away with doing it in much smaller sections. Okay. And also, if you've got areas of the hair that are particularly drier than the rest, so for instance, you may have some sort of quite heavy highlighting in the hair. There might be areas that are more sort of dry and damaged than others, so you may well want to, you know, concentrate on those areas a bit more.
Why would you condition like this?
Why would you? It's just obviously a conditioning treatment. What we do is firstly it's obviously to feed the hair, so we're going to be using a treatment that's going to be penetrating the hair and fixing some of the dryness, if you like. You also do it for relaxment. What we're going to do is, once we've done our petrissage massage and a little bit of outer pointment we're going to have a go at today, you're going to pop the client under either a steamer or a climazone, which is basically heat. You're going to add heat to the hair, which is going to, with a steamer obviously creates steam, so it creates obviously wet heat, or you can use a climazone that's obviously dry heat. But it's just going to help to make the product penetrate into the hair. It's going to help to open those little doors up, if you remember talking about the cuticles, so that the product can go in and work its magic in the hair. Okay, so that's the difference. This is why we would do it obviously at the workstation, not at the backwash, because we're going to use heat on there as well today. You may also see in your salons this being used with hot towels. You might see people using hot towels to create heat. So it's just about basically warming that area up to help the product penetrate. You also do get products that are heat activated, so obviously they need the heat to help them activate.
Is work for any condition here?
Is what, sorry?
Work for any condition?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. You depend on your different types of hair, and different conditions would depend on what products you use. So as I say, we'll look far more into that in a bit, but today we're really just want you to get sort of hands-on with the technique really. But we will most definitely looking at the different available products that are there for you. So we're covering all our sections. You'll find it, if you've not got your gloves on, your hands will get quite slippery, so. If you're working on obviously quite short hair that isn't sort of fairly long and not really thick hair, you can obviously, you know, pop the conditioner on without using a bowl and brush. But we find using the bowl and brush, it just gets you able to put that product on exactly where you need it. Okay. So we've got our product through there. Okay. So then we're going to go in with our petrissage, and if you remember, we've got nice small movements. So they're very similar to your rotary movement. They're little circular movements. But then we slow it down. Obviously with your rotary, you're lathering up the product. Your aim here is to stimulate that scalp, to bring that blood to the surface. So obviously it's going to be slow and it should be relaxing. So what you're not going to do when you're working on your clients, this is the point where you wouldn't necessarily talk to your client. You generally, they would, natural reaction is for them to close their eyes and relax. So obviously that's the time when you let them do that rather than talk to them. You talk to them about the shopping and what they're having for tea and stuff. Where they're going on holiday.
Use the finger, not
Yeah, it's the pads of your fingers. Yeah, so you're using that type of. And if you imagine, it's very similar to if you think about when you. I don't know if anyone does these days, but if you make bread and you're kneading. Or kneading pastry, it's that type of movement. It's a real sort of you're lifting that scalp up. So what your aim is for that scalp to be sort of lifting up. And as I said last week, you will find on some people, especially more than others, that area will go pink. So the scalp will go pink where the blood is coming to the surface. Okay. So you'd be looking to do your petrissage massage for about 10-15 minutes. Okay, so really sort of nice relaxing treatment that you can offer as well commercially. And then I've just shown you a little bit, if you can remember the tapotement. So we're just going to do a little bit of, it's literally just a little tapping movement. So it's a little bit quicker than the petrissage, if you remember. Petrissage is really slow, your tapotement is really, really a little bit faster, and it's just you're stimulating. You're stimulating, you're just waking up that scalp. Pass. I will, I'll find out. I'll go and ask Karen in a minute. Yeah, I must add that to there actually. I will do that before I put it onto the thing actually. That's what I will do. Okay, so we're using that appointment. What you also might do at the end of a massage, this is something I always think is quite nice, is add a little bit of effleurage. So going back to when I said you can use the effleurage with your conditioning, what you do is literally just use your fingers to stroke through the hair. And I always find when you end with that, it's just almost like as if you're telling your client you're about to come away, rather than doing that and then coming off. So if you I just do 2 or 3 sort of very, very slow sloping effleurage right to the nape, and it's just like you're saying goodbye. So on the last one, what I tend to do is just follow that onto the neck and shoulders and then come away. Bearing in mind they would be obviously gowned up, they'll have a towel on there, so you're just going to touch. So it's just like you're saying, I'm finishing now. Okay?
Yeah.